Hey everyone, I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to share brave words that wake the world up to what's possible for healing. And here today to help me with that mission is Holly Jean Jackson, the author of a new book coming out soon called Inspiration Contagion: Health Secrets for Raving Success. You guys, Holly helps business leaders love their life and business again. Taking a holistic approach, she helps clients get their groove back physically, mentally, and emotionally. Holly sets three core tenets: health, clarity, and business. In fine-tuning these, clients can live the life of their dreams today. You guys are going to find her hooked up in our show notes down below, and all of the information you're going to be dying to check out after you hear from this amazing woman. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. That was a fun introduction.
So, okay, first for everybody, and me too, I want to hear a little bit about your story. Like, how did you get here today doing what you're doing in the world?
Yeah, it was kind of a windy path and an interesting kind of bumpy journey. So I actually started years ago in the nonprofit space. And then my husband at the time and I moved across country to California, and it was really expensive. So I started dabbling in university work and then eventually corporate America. And I found some consistent tenets of areas that I was really talented in. I was really good at strategy and communications and technology. And these skills really benefited me over time. But I kept getting laid off. And then I'd have like these really interesting, heavy health, either diagnosis or injuries or substantial things that kept impacting me. And eventually, after the third layoff, I was like, this is a really interesting pattern. I wonder what's going on here. So I took a step back and realized I actually found that didn't work for me, that I wanted to go a different journey, a different route forward. And so I took one more corporate job and decided to use that as a launch pad to begin exploring how I would start my own business and what that would look like. And I started with health coaching and did that part-time on the side, got a consulting opportunity to fund that, and eventually realized I wanted to help entrepreneurs so that people could do either like I did and leave corporate America and start a business, or if they were already entrepreneurs, could be highly successful in scaling their business. And that's where my sweet spot is doing holistic business coaching for health and wellness business owners.
So, on this journey and throughout your personal and your professional stuff, feeling inspired has been important to you. Like, well, duh, right? So, but it's the whole theme of your book. And I love the title. Of course, I love the title, Inspiration Contagion, because when you are living in that kind of energy, it is contagious. And doesn't the world need more of that kind of contagion right now? But tell us more about inspiration in general for you. What's it meant to you in your life?
Yeah. So when it comes to making significant transitions in our lives, anywhere from changing jobs to starting a new business venture to even writing this book, this is my first solo book. And every time, exactly. Yes. Big celebration on that one. And every time I would sit down to start writing this book, there's a lot of challenges and pain and struggles that are very raw and very vulnerable. And so every time I'd sit down to write it, I wasn't writing it from the right lens the few times that I would start and fail. And so eventually I was sitting on my meditation cushion and I realized that I was not really embodying the right energy for the book. And as soon as I became clear on the heart of the book was really about inspiration. Yes, there's challenges, there's struggle, there's significant pain, there are a lot of setbacks, but the heart and the energy of what I wanted to express to people and share was this energy of inspiration, and how when we tap into and tune into that energy, there's nothing we can't get past. There's nothing we can't do. And this is really how I started my business. It's how I've transitioned. And when you talk to anybody who knows me closely or intimately, they're like, Holly cannot fail. And that's a lot of pressure to live up to. But the reason they say that is because no matter what challenge or setback I'm faced with, I always figure out a way to get past it. And I also always find a way to learn from it or find that silver lining. So for me, that's what inspiration is all about. And when I sit on my meditation cushion now every single morning, inspiration is one of the energetic properties I try to embody every single day and try to share that and spread that message with people because they really need to hear it, because we have so much potential and so much power within, but we get lost in what society is telling us, what the news is saying to us, and even what sometimes our loved ones are telling us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's no joke. You know, okay, so you're making me think of something that I say a lot to myself. Within huge problems are huge opportunities for victories. So when I'm in a problem, and it's so easy to be stuck in the negativity of a problem or a challenge or just a bad day. But if I can flip my switch and just take that deep breath and relax a little bit and look for the opportunity, then everything changes, right? Tell me, I know that's how you live too. Tell me more about that in your life.
It's interesting that there's a story that came to mind as you were talking about flipping that switch. So about a couple months ago, I had a flat tire, and my significant other and I did not handle the situation well. And I won't go into the details, but it created kind of this not rift, but this area or opportunity that we needed to heal in our relationship. And so that situation was not great. And we agreed we didn't handle it well. But then literally a month later, by the date, I got another flat tire and I was alone. And what's really cool is so when I walked back to the car after doing this great photography meetup in downtown Raleigh, and I saw my mirror had been hit, and I was like, well, that sucks, but I didn't really strongly react to it. I was like, okay, whatever. Then I go to get in the car and I realized the tire's flat. Well, somebody had sideswiped my car. Now, normally I would get really upset about this and I would have had a strong response, but because I had just gone through something somewhat similar and I wasn't in the car at the time, I was really calm. So I called AAA, which I finally had from the last incident. And then I texted my boyfriend and I said, hey, this is what happened. I'm waiting on AAA. And his response was like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. I can be there in 15 minutes. Let me come help you. What's the address? So I guess my point is that I could have been really frustrated and angry and upset by this situation. But the way I looked at this situation was like, what an amazing opportunity for us to heal this situation that happened just a month before, and for both of us to show up the way we wanted to. And it actually, while it's really frustrating and expensive and difficult with insurance companies, it was such a great opportunity for us to heal. And so I could have gone the other route of negativity and fear and anger, but instead I was able to show up as the best version of myself. And it allowed my partner to show up the way he wanted to the first time around. So we were able to heal as a couple.
I love that story. Darn those tires, but hey.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So that is super awesome because truly everything happens for us. It is a mindset shift that needs to happen. So it doesn't really matter what's happening, right? You can look at it differently. And listen, life is a journey, but owning your own business, I think, is one of the most courageous self-development journeys there is. And you have done this, right? And you made a transition and you are doing some amazing business coaching. Tell us more about your business. What do you have going on? What are we going to find when we get to your website?
Well, so I always have a lot going on. That's the response that I get from people when I share what's going on in my world. For the business coaching side of things, I take on private clients right now. I have a certain capacity threshold, and once I hit that, I'll start moving to more of a group coaching method. But for now, I have some one-on-one private coaching. And what's kind of unique about my coaching practice is that I also offer consulting to my clients. So they can choose, okay, let's do a coaching session on this, but hey, I'd like you to do this for me. So there could be like a marketing thing or an email thing, reviewing their website, something like that. So it's not having to piecemeal things and work with separate people. It's one person across your health, your life, and your business. And I find this is really helpful because for me personally, I have a business coach, I have a life coach, I have an energy coach, and then I have all kinds of health people that help me with my stuff. And that's a lot. It'd be nice if I could wrap that into one person. So that's what you get out of holistic business coaching. The other piece of the business is I do marketing consulting for a couple clients at a time. This is monthly marketing where I do email marketing, a website, blog, all kinds of different content to help them be highly successful in getting their message out in the world. And then additionally, I have my Inspiration Contagion podcast, which was kind of the precursor to the book and was my accountability partner to making sure I would write the book series. And in the second book, some of those interviews will be part of the second book, which will be really, really cool. And then in addition to that, I also have the Business Builder Throwdown live stream show, the 7-Minute Jabs podcast, and the Business Builder Ninja Mastermind community, which is a joint venture with 2 other guys in business in different parts of the country and the world, where we help health and wellness business owners and entrepreneurs thrive in a mastermind community.
Awesome. You guys are going to find all of this at hollyjeanjackson.com. It's down in the show notes. Okay. So you have a pretty powerful story and have overcome bouts of serious chronic pain. I want to know, what do you want others to know about your journey with that specifically?
So with chronic pain specifically? Okay. So I guess the message I would share with you is, and this is interesting because I was recently pitching for a TEDx talk around this topic, and I looked at my chapter around chronic pain and the steps and strategies that I put together to successfully navigate that and to cope with that. What's interesting is when I take a step back and look at that, those same steps and strategies work for essentially any challenge you're facing, not just specific to chronic pain or health, but just a difficult situation where you're trying to navigate it successfully and not having massive bouts of panic or stress. So I guess the message I'd like to share today around chronic pain is, if you have a new health diagnosis, because I would say most of us don't get through this life without having some sort of health scare that is a setback and feels huge to us in that moment. And it could be smaller in the grand scheme of things. But at that moment, our perspective is that it's all consuming. It's going to change our life dramatically. And I want to share that just because it's going to change your life doesn't mean it's going to change it to your detriment, right? You can actually use these as opportunities to get incredibly creative and grow and have opportunities to meet people you never would have, to build that community, to help you see things from a different perspective, to get the support that you need, whether it's physical support, emotional support, spiritual support, whatever that is. And I find that these moments of health setbacks or dealing with chronic pain are really an invitation for us to look at life more directly, make sure we're living to our very best each single day. And somebody who's faced chronic pain and has significant surgeries, or been in even just relationships that were not healthy for me, I strive to live each day like it's my last, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so if you're facing chronic pain, you're facing a new health challenge, you're facing a new transition, or really any challenge, I guess my message for you is that you can do it. You can get through it. It doesn't have to be the end. There's not this massive wall that you can't get around. It might look like that right now, but if you step back and take a breath and follow those steps that I have outlined in that chronic pain chapter in the book, I guarantee you're going to get through it, and you're going to figure out a lot of other paths you could take that work even better for you.
Thank you for that. I want to add, for people who are listening you might be suffering with chronic pain or pain of many different kinds. I know that in my journey, I would come across people who had been to so many practitioners, doctors to, try to get answers and try to change what was happening. And then it's easy to lose hope. So I'm here today to say that people like Holly are going to give you that hope that you have been waiting for. Don't lose hope. Always seek out that next connection, because like she said, you never know what you're going to learn. Maybe there's something you learned today that changes everything. So we want you to feel excited and hopeful, right? And this book it's part of why I love the book, because it's going to do that for people. So
Yeah.
For your business owners, okay, we know that you can't have a successful business without first taking care of yourself. You and I know that, but we also know people who aren't really, they're ignoring that a little bit. They're working a little too hard. They're burning themselves out. This book takes that caretaking idea to a whole nother level. Tell us more about those core pieces that have been important for you and why we have to take our health seriously if we want a thriving business.
Yeah, this is why it's so interesting. People ask me, well, what is a holistic business coach and why do I need that? And it's really interesting. I'll take on new clients that say, I want to start on the business. And it's like, yeah, great. We're going to start on the business. Like the whole guiding light and compass is really around their business and having their dream life. But honestly, people that are strongly saying as clients, they want to work on the business, typically 90% of the time, they're the ones that need the most health in other aspects of their life, and they don't even realize it. So why this is so important is, let's say you are struggling in your business with growing, right? So it's either the sales conversation, you have resistance to technology, you're unclear on your message. Well, quite a few of these things, actually, if we pull back the curtain on what the problem is, it's not really about the business, it's about your life. So oftentimes people struggling with sales and growing, they actually have an underlying fear around sales, and they have a fear around growing their business. They have negative mindset around money. They have never even considered what their thoughts are around money. And they wonder why it's so elusive to them, why they'll get it, it'll slip through their fingers, or why they're not good at closing the sales calls. And it's really more of this mindset work, or sometimes an imbalance in their life. So going back to the beginning of your question, what are the most core tenets that are most important to having a thriving business and life? Well, the first piece is awareness, right? So awareness of physically what's going on with me, emotionally what's going on with me, and spiritually. And when I have that awareness, then I'm able to say, hey, I need to up-level my daily routine, my meditation. I need more time right now. I need more quiet time or processing. Like if I just went through a massive retreat or conference, or had some super thinking time and had this really big epiphany, I need to make space for myself to process that and to figure out how I want to implement that in my life. Or perhaps I could be in a season where I'm not feeling as creative. I'm struggling with my messaging or my writing or whatever it is that I do in my business. That could mean that you have an imbalance. You're working too many hours. You're not making enough time for fun or connecting with loved ones, and your life is dramatically out of balance. When these things happen, our bodies are going to start screaming at us eventually when we get it, too bad, because stress shows up, our shoulders start to rise towards our ears. We start to get headaches. We start having, anxiety, or we're really tired. So these things show up in that way. So awareness is the first step. And once you have that awareness, then it's having your toolkit. It's knowing what you need to be most successful. And for me, that is my meditation time. That's my affirmation work. It's my visualization work daily. It's making sure I'm taking excellent care of myself. And with that awareness, I know what type of self-care that I need each day or each week or each season. And then there's that huge element of community, I am obsessed with building community and connection because as humans, we are meant to connect. And so much of our healing and growth and transformation only happens when we do life in circles. And that requires being vulnerable and constantly trying to connect with people that are on the same journey as you, or maybe a few steps ahead of you to help you on your journey. So I'd say those are the biggest core tenets. And obviously, in the book, we dive into them much more deeply. We talk about stress and anxiety management. We talk about sleep. There's a million different tools in there.
Yes, there are. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for y'all to read this beautiful book. Life-changing, world-changing principles and strategies, some seriously practical things that you can put into place the day you read the chapters. It's exciting to me. It's part of my mission, actually, is to publish books that give our readers the toolkit that you're talking about. I was writing down a few things as you were talking just now, and I'll just repeat a couple. It's not really about your business, it's about your life. Yes. And you got me thinking about branding just now, because if we're coming from a foundational place of that life being chaotic, painful, unhappy, then think about that for a minute, y'all. Like, you don't want to build a business on top of that. You have to have the foundation in place, the good, juicy, awesome stuff, right? So, yeah, oh my gosh, don't get me started on this. This is the best topic ever. Okay. So, and I love the last thing you said too. I wrote it, awareness is that first step, foundational first step, but you also need the toolkit, and then you need the community. Yes, yes, and yes to all of those things. Okay, so there are people listening and entrepreneurs listening in different levels, stages of their life and their business. And, they're waking up a little bit with this conversation, we hope, but they may still really be struggling at this point. So what would you say to someone who is still really stuck or still feels like it's too much of a struggle, maybe just as the first little stepping stone?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things that I tell my clients, whether it's working on their health, their life, or their business, is from the movie What About Bob? Baby steps to the elevator, baby steps to the door. So really, life is just baby steps. And when we have a clear compass of where we're going, which that's the first step. So maybe your baby step is take some time today and figure out where it is that you want to go. Because if you're not clear on that, there's no direction that you should be taking baby steps towards, because then you're just kind of stuck and lost and probably walking in circles that feel like chaos or insanity. So maybe your baby step today is getting that clarity on what you want today, or what you want a week from today, a year from today. And then just sit with that and journal on that, exactly what it is that you want, visualize that, reflect on that, get super clear. But if you already have that compass, you know exactly what you want, but you're struggling with a health challenge, a pivot in your business, could be the pandemic, could be whatever, a relationship even. If you're struggling with that, just figure out one small baby step you can take that's going to get you 1% closer to the solution. That's all you need. You don't have to solve the whole thing today. Just take one small step that's going to get you 1% of growth closer to the solution. That's really all it takes in terms of building your business. It's not like we build pyramids in one day. It's one stone at a time. And it requires that really solid, firm foundation. And the other thing that I'd like to just say, because of what you were sharing earlier, is if we build our business and our life on unsturdy foundation and on a feeling or the wrong values or things that don't reflect what we actually want in the long term, it will crumble. And right now we're in a new marketing age where it's all about personal story. And if you're not clear on exactly who you are, the values that you strive to walk the talk in life on, exactly what you're trying to build with your business and your brand, people will see right through that. you are going to create so many more obstacles for you to not be as successful in your business unless you do this in the right order with the right foundation. And that starts with your health and knowing who you are. And this book gives you those baby steps to figure that out.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love the baby steps thing. We had a really big family issue recently, and I was helping another family member. The two of us were working it out, and there was just talk of the what ifs and all the things. And I just paused and I'm like, let's just do one thing today. Let's just take that step, that one little step for today. And it was like a collective sigh of relief. Yeah, just the one, I can do the one step, so I'm feeling you. I love that. And pretty soon you're standing in front of the pyramid and you're like, look what I created, right? One stone at a time. Funny enough, I just got back from Mexico, y'all, Pyramid of the Sun. So Holly knows this. Maybe she used this idea on purpose for me, but I looked at every one of those stones and at this magnificent structure, right? One step at a time is how that thing got built. Really cool, Holly.
I just remember you sharing that. And I remember the experience that I had there myself and just felt appropriate, because when we feel overwhelmed or lost, it's because we don't know what that next step is. So if you're really that lost, figure out what your goal is and then take the smallest of steps towards it. And you're going to feel so much more confident, in control, and better, because the only thing you have the power to control is yourself, your perspective, the actions you take, how you show up. And when we show up taking action, we feel so much better, because as humans, we're meant to take action and connect with each other. So if you're struggling with that, identify what you need to do next and take action.
Holly, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you too for helping me get the message out there.
And we are going to do that very soon, everybody. So mark your calendars, folks, because Inspiration Contagion comes out on or about January 17th, 22, right around the corner if you're watching this right now. And we're going to celebrate with Holly on the 20th of January with a live stream book launch party on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. 11 o'clock Eastern. I've got you hooked up down below so you can go find the details. Join us there and you can interact with Holly via live stream, ask her questions, and just be inspired. So lastly, everybody, for today, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. Our books and programs are built on a foundation of awareness and love. We are helping people live extraordinary lives. If you're called to sharing your message in a bigger way, please find us at bravehealer.com and get ready for this book. Thanks, Holly. See you next time, everyone.